There you go. Let's do it. Yeah. Right. So we're going to learn about Egyptians' civilization and their organized social society. Okay. So like any other early civilization, Egypt had its own class system, both as a god and earthly leader. Pharaoh stood at the top of the social society, along with the royal family. Directly under the pharaoh and his family was the government officials and high priests and priestesses, who served the gods and the goddesses. Next came a tiny class of merchants, scribes, and artisans. They provided the needs of the rich and powerful. The bottom layer of society was the largest and made up of mostly peasants who worked the land. So there was a pharaoh, and his family was at the top of the class. What was below the pharaoh? Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes. Priests, right? Yeah, it was perfect. Dude. Priests and priestesses were right below him. They served the gods, right? And then after that came the merchants, the scribes, and the artisans, right? And what was the lowest but yet the biggest social class? What were they called? P. E. A. S. E. What's after S? A. M. C. The peasant class, right? And do you know what they mainly did? The peasant class. What did they do? They worked. They worked the great answer, dude. Yeah, they worked the land, right? They're the biggest class, but they worked the land. Most Egyptians were peasant farmers. Many were slaves. Men and women spent their days working the soil and repairing the dikes. One ancient record describes the life of a typical Egyptian peasant. All right, so this is coming from an old scribe back then. When the water is full, he irrigates the field. Then he repairs his equipment. He spends the day cutting tools for cultivating barley, and nights twisting ropes. So from that little passage, I'll read it one more time. When the water is full, he irrigates his fields, or waters his fields, and repairs his equipment. He spends the day cutting tools for cultivating barley, and at nights twisting rope. So from that, how do you see a peasant's life? Going. S. T. Pira. Going non-stop. Going non-stop. Going non-stop. Morning. G. To. G. H. Right? Yeah, going non-stop morning to night. That's what it sounds like to me too. Okay, in the off-season, peasant men were expected to serve the pharaoh, laboring to build palaces, temples, and tombs. Remember how we talked about that a couple days ago, and how they built the pyramids for the pharaohs, which was their great tomb. And besides working in the fields, women also spent much time raising children, collecting water, and preparing food. During the New Kingdom, remember, so they have the Old Kingdom, I forgot let's figure it out so I don't mess it up. We have the Old Kingdom, we have the Middle Kingdom, and we have the New Kingdom, right? So near the end of the New Kingdom, Social classes became more fluid as trade and warfare increased. Trade offered new opportunities to grow the growing merchant class. Foreign conquests brought riches to to Egypt. If you want to come sit back down and ask you 2 more questions, we'll be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, come take a seat.
Got it, Joe. Doing really good.
You got it, Joe.
Joe, put those keys back up there, man.
Joe, come right back. We got 2 more questions and then we'll take a break, okay? Come on, Joe.
You wanna save the water for after, Joe?
You want to take a break right there? And then see if you're done with the water. Okay. Thank you, sir. Alright. So, these skilled craft workers made fine jewelry, furniture, fabrics, and the palaces and the tombs of the pharaohs and nobles. So that's how the merchant class started to grow ever since the trade started up. Egyptian women generally enjoyed a higher status and greater independence than women elsewhere in the ancient world. For example, Ramses II declared, "The foot of an Egyptian woman may walk where it pleases her, and no one may deny her." So I'm going to read that one more time. "The foot of an Egyptian woman may walk where it pleases her, and no one may deny her." So what do you think that means? Do you? Doing. Doing whatever. S. H. Doing whatever she. P. L. E. A. S. Right? Doing whatever she pleased. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay. Under Egyptian law, women could inherit property, enter business deals, buy and sell goods, go to court, and even obtain divorces, which is a lot more than women had even 100 years ago. Although there were often clear distinctions between occupations of women and men, women's work was not confined to the home. Women manufactured perfumes, textiles, and managed farming estates, and served as doctors. Women could also enter the priesthood, especially in the service of goddesses. Despite their many rights and opportunities, few women learned to read or write. Even if they did, they were excluded from becoming scribes or holding government jobs. So, all right, Joe. Here's a little bit of a thinking question, then we'll take a break, okay? So, although women had all these rights, like they had a lot more rights back then than what they did even 100 years ago in America. But they had all these rights, but still they weren't allowed to become scribes, which is writing down laws and everything for pharaohs, or holding government jobs. Why do you think they kept them out of the government? B, E, C, A, U, S, E. Because T, they what? They may change. They may. T. A. Okay. They may take. T. H. E. They may take the. P. W. E. R. They may take the power. They take the power from T. H. E. The M. Good answer, Jeff. Want to take it right there?
Yeah.
Good job, buddy.